Hello everyone, I hope you had a very, very wonderful day and a very much of a great, blessed morning and a very much of a great, blessed morning and a very much of a beautiful one indeed. As you can see guys, today's weather is very quietly cloudy and very quietly sunny. So yeah, it's just the weather just being like this as well, and also a bit windy as well. Regardless of that guys, I'm so superly grateful for your support from those of you who are actually excuse me, from those of you who are actually excuse me, from those of you who are actually watching from shorts and from long videos and from TikTok. I'm so superly grateful for you guys. And from those of you who are also subscribing, it quietly means a lot to me, as in literally means completely a lot to me. I'll never forget you guys. I'll never completely ever forget you guys. Completely means totally a lot to me. May God bless you and be with you and stay with you in everything else that you're doing and in everything else that you're trying to pursue as well. And may you stay strong and may you stay happy and may you stay fearless and very courageous and very courageous and very independent as well. And may you be happy and be very blessed as well. So totally grateful for your guys' support from all of you, TikTok, shorts, long videos, and from those of you who are subscribing. Completely means a lot. May you enjoy your day and the rest of your morning. On today's episode is we're here to talk about we're here to talk about the mysterious sinister group. We're here to talk about the mysterious sinister group of powerful, formidable dark magic users known as the Winds, who are very powerful and very ancient, who are very gratefully ancient mysterious associates who associate themselves with working with powerful ancient dark magical creatures and beings known as the original Lord of Magic and Amber and Witchcaster and the sinister ancient secret society of and the sinister ancient shadowy secret society organizations of criminal organization such as the Founders, the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, and the Order of the Four, Sinister Magic, and the Galactic and the Unholy Alliance and Sacred Circle and Sacred Five as well, helping these organizations reach their goals for them to successfully bear fruit with their long-term plans goals, which could also benefit them greatly with their own means, and with their only soul of objectivity as well, so that they can also take control of the sacred universe and of the sacred world in the process. They are very ancient and very powerful dark magic users and very crafty with dark magic and with the dark arts and with all its capabilities and powers as well, which makes them exceptionally dangerous and very powerful and well devoted to serving the most powerful dark ancient magical creatures and beings of the sacred world and of the sacred universe, making sure that they remain in power and in control over the sacred world and over the sacred universe and over the rest of humanity in the process, as long as they completely benefit from the goal, which is their true destiny and their true purpose, making sure that the all-powerful, ancient, dark, mysterious, shadowy monsters rule the entire sacred universe and the sacred world and the known universe in the process, which makes them the elite, powerful, shadowy associate of the powerful dark magic users who conduct serious dark magical experience, serious dark magical experiments of their own in order to making sure the Shadow Empire and the Red Empire and the Winter Empire remain the dominant ruling force over the entire sacred universe and over the known universe, so that their power and control can never be challenged or never be put to the test as well. So let's begin. During the welcoming ancient times, the Winds were quietly rumored to be known as ancient, powerful, dark followers of powerful, dark magical beings, dark, powerful magical users, which there were powerful ancient origins about the ancient origins and lineages that were quietly scattered into the ancient, powerful crystal dark temples that are quietly scattered into the magical worlds and into the dark worlds of the sacred world and of the sacred universe, which other warlocks and witches and other powerful fairies would also do to conduct their own magical experiences, their own magical experience, their own magical experiences of their own in order for them to further the experience and their own literature. During which in those times They discovered within the great crystal temple walls that the winds were very powerful, formidable, ancient forces of greater evil, which were fully heavily associated with, and fully heavily associated with the Dark Sisters and with the Space Sisters, as according to the ancient ancient paintings on the wall of the ancient powerful dark crystal temple, which were able to remain there during the following centuries and during the ancient times as well. During which in those paintings actually shows that the winds are very, very heavily associated with the Space Sisters and with the Dark Sisters, which makes the partnership and the relationship very, very, very strong and very formidable, which they know to each other as great colleagues and as great, great partners to each other as well, which resides over their friendship and over which explains their association and their friendship as well over the following centuries and over during the ancient times as well. Despite this, the winds are very, very, very powerful, devious, dark, mysterious followers, sinister, dark, magical users of sinister followers who are dedicated to their mission and to their job and to their purpose, to making sure that the original Lord of Magic and the rest of the other sinister dark empires remain in power and remain in control. They provided the founder and leader of the ancient secret society of supervillains known as the Founders with incredible information and with great dark formidable resources during the ancient times, as well as providing the golden masters with greater knowledge and with greater expertise to conquering and ruling and informing and also informing and in reforming and remaking the golden law the most powerful law throughout the entire golden universe, to making sure that it remains indestructible and also very quietly very powerful and greatly very much sinister. Due to this, the winds remain very, very, very committed and very devoted to their masters and to their associates, as well to the ancient sinister organization known as the Founders, and to the Order of the Five, by providing them with endless resources and with greater compatible technology and with endless power, even supplying the original Lord of Magic with more information on secrets of immortality and powers and dark abilities and all forbidden techniques and all of that, making sure that his reign would remain intactable and also it would remain very much completely indestructible. Regardless of that, the winds are very, 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 very curious beings, very curious, dark, magical followers of their own, and there are thousands, as in there are literally millions of them and dozens of them who actually were the former servants of the original Lord of Magic, by providing Amber, the goddess of power, the witch of power, with great information and with great experience of ancient texts and of ancient knowledge on shadow energy and its powers and its capabilities, making Amber and the original Lord of Magic remain powerful and also very strongly. Their loyalty and the devotion to the original Lord of Magic remained the same, and they never abandoned their former Lord and Master, as well as Amber, which they gratefully respected and admired due to her dedication to the mission and to their goal. They exactly remained true to them and only to them, and also to the other sinister, ancient, shadowy organizations, which made them very powerful, dangerous, sinister, dark, magical followers of the entire sacred universe. Over the following centuries, the winds waged war with the other warring clans of the sacred world, such as the powerful protocol clan of the clan of power and the clan of death, which they began exactly waging war with them in order to understand their powers and their abilities as well. The clan of power and the clan of death triumphed against the winds, which they were able to successfully win the battle against the winds. But the winds' powers of dark magic and ability did not exactly affect the clans of power, the clans of power's follower, the clans of power's descendant, and the clans of death's descendant as well, in the process, which made them very quietly angry. They decided to disappear and vanish throughout sacred history without even sending any words or any warning to anyone else. It left the Four Nation Hunters very quietly wondering and very quietly curious that the dark, ancient, formidable magic users known as the Winds would just vanish without saying anything or stating anything. But due to their disappearance, they still provided the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders and the original Lord of Magic with endless resources, and with the Order of the Five with more endless resources, and the founders with more endless resources ever possible, which made sure that the organizations and the secret society remained in power and remained in control over the sacred world and over the sacred world and over humanity and over the sacred known worlds, over the sacred universe as well. Despite this, they began exactly operating from the shadows throughout sacred histories, throughout the course of sacred histories, manipulating powerful events of the Shadow Empire wars and conflicts and battles in order for them to further their plans and their goals, until the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders supply them with endless, destructive, more powerful, compatible technology. The winds even went to extreme measures, to very much deadly extreme measures, to conquering powerful, beautiful, magical worlds and magical colleges of crystals in order to obtain and acquire the power of magic, so that they can use those magic powers and abilities to enable themselves in order to making themselves extremely powerful and deadly, stronger and very lethal. During the following centuries and many years, the winds remained in the shadows and provided the dark druids, the dark witches, and the dark faithful, and the other sinister, other magical users who follow the other powerful high dark witches, who follow the most strongest and powerful dark witches and dark powerful magical beings with endless knowledge and endless expertise and with greater power. Due to this end, they were able to discover their own basis of operation as they all exactly banded together, that they will remain in hiding and that they'll further their plans and their own goals in due time. But they have to make sure that the original Lord of Magic and Amber, the Goddess of Power and the Witch of Power, remain in power, and so did the founders, and so did the Order of the Five, that they had to remain in power and in control over the sacred world and over the known universe as well, which was part of the sinister plan and their goal from the very beginning, by using their dark magical powers and abilities for the greater evil purpose of their goal as well. On the on the actual on the actual of on the actual of 26th of March, the winds began convening on a very powerful shadowy cave, where they all exactly convened in the dark holographic holograms, in order to discuss the death and demise of the original Lord of Magic, which they gratefully admired and fully respected. Regardless of that, all the Winds members began to understand that there's a power vacuum within the Shadow Empire that began exactly happening within February, and within the 1st of February, and within the 15th of February as well. And they decided that it's time for them to exploit the power vacuum within the Shadow Empire for their own gain as well. On the actual 27th of April, the Winds exactly began conducting serious dark magical experiments of their own within a dark crystal laboratory cave, where they began exactly harnessing the capabilities and powers of shadow energy, which made them extremely more powerful, as they all began converging their power and energy all together by synchronizing it all together. And they decided that they have the power to converge and the power to alter energy, and to specifically able to turn light energy into shadow energy at will, which, due to their perseverance and due to their determination and to their persistence and also to their persistence, they began to develop that their powers can easily evolve and adapt with the snap of a finger, as they were completely successfully amazed with the progress they were able to gain as well during this course of this experiment as well. On the 29th of May, the Winds actually held up another holographic shadowy meeting on another different base of location, which was another powerful dark crystal cave. This time on an ancient hand. This time they were all exactly standing on the hands of a powerful ancient statue of a monster that was quietly sitting within the caves, within the cave center, within the center of the shadowy cave, where all of them were actually in holographic shadows of themselves in order to actually conceal their identities, and all of them were actually standing on the hands of the monster statue, on the actual hands of the monster statue like this. They were all standing in one. Each member was here, each member was here, each member was here. They were all standing on the statue's monster's hands, as they all began to discuss furthering their plans and their next objectives of their goals, which either to help the Shadow Empire or to help the Dark Order, complete its plan or its sole purpose. The others were quite too skeptical not to actually help the sinister ancient organization known as the Dark Order, since they don't know anything about its true goals or its true purposes. And Red Bolt is very completely ruthless and very determination to making sure that the Shadow Empire remains to its sole objective. Despite that, the leader of the Winds exactly agreed with the others that the Dark Order will be here outbe on its own while they further their own plans and their own goals, which is very crucial for their plans to proceed accordingly the way they have to be without any other further due process. And they all agreed to that as well. On the actual 22 of July, on the actual 22 of June, the winds exactly began returning back to the dark worlds and to the dark crystal planets and worlds and civilization where they actually originated from due to their origins. And to that point they actually returned to the dark crystal temple, where they all exactly began summoning the same monster. They were all exactly standing. They actually one the leader of the winds actually summoned the ancient monster statue with his bare power within the center of the temple. That by doing so, the monster wasn't exactly sitting this time. All of its entire statue's body parts were completely summoned, and the entire monster statue was completely summoned the way it was, and it was completely exactly this time sitting back in order to where it was supposed to be. The other members of the Winds exactly appeared in holographic shadows, while the others appeared face to face, while the leader of the Winds exactly told them it's time to begin the full experiment notation. Together, they literally binded their hands like this, or rather binded their hands like this, or rather binded their hands like actually like this, or some of them binded their hands like this, or either some of them binded their hands like actually like this to begin the ancient sinister ritual, and the others of them binded their hands like this to make sure the ritual began taking place. During that ritual, they exactly held up a very sinister warlord with these supernatural powers, and the monster and the ancient monster statue began coughing out a shadowy monster of a dragon, which began entering straightly into the warlord, which began actually consuming the power and energy from the warlord. And the leader of the winds and the other members of the winds were very satisfied that the experiment gladly took place and that it was a very successful experiment. It means that, in other words, they must proceed with the course of the ritual as well. On the 25 of July, the winds were actually summoned by Lord Clay. They were actually summoned by Lord Clay, who is the new Lord of Magic that some of you already actually told about this, which Lord Clay was able to summon the winds to another different location, which was a very different base of operation, which was a very different base of a hidden location of a very powerful misty cave, of a very powerful misty cave. He was also in a very concealed holographic shadow of himself, as the other winds were all exactly summoned, and they all were able to be spoken with Clay, were able to speak with Lord Clay. Lord Clay exactly explained to the winds they either have to join forces with him, or either become his associate or his allies, or other words, they'll become his greatest enemy. The leader of the winds exactly explained to Lord Clay that they are just nothing but associates to the new Lord of Magic and to the other new Lord of Magic and to the other ancient sacred shadowy organization, that all they do is provide information and greater knowledge to further in making sure that the most powerful dark magical being and the most strongest of all the other ancient beings of the sacred world and of the sacred universe remain in power and in control over the sacred universe and over the sacred world as well, which is crucially beneficial to them and only to them, with a common goal and with a common interest. Lord Clay was quietly skeptical about the true reassurance to him, as he advised the winds to exactly remain by his side, otherwise there'll be dreadfully consequences. The leader of the winds and the other winds exactly reassured Clay that they'll do whatever it takes to make sure his organization and his hidden society functions well with great power, and that they will receive greater powerful resources than ever before. After that, Lord Clay, the new Lord of Magic, shadowy holographic figure disappeared from the misty cave, and after that he was never seen. The winds exactly began continuing the meeting on their own, as they all decided it's best to exactly support the two new Lord of Magics, making sure that both of them remain in power and their organizations remain formidable and indestructible and untouchable, which they'll all exactly benefit, as they all completely agree to that as well. On the 29th of August, the winds exactly conducted a very much of a serious attack on the sacred urban village that was quietly within the center of the other sinister worlds and planets, and closer to the other great sacred nations, and to the closer to the other great sacred nations, and also closer to the other great tribes, where they began literally besieging the entire magical village with their dark magical powers and their abilities as well, in order to demonstrate how far they have learned their powers and their new abilities. Due to this, the sacred creatures of the villages began fighting up against the dark magic users, using their supernatural powers and their abilities against them. Both sides were evenly matched as the winds continued to triumph in the battle, and they managed to destroy the entire village, as the reputation of the winds remained intactable, as ensured that the reputation was formidably intactable, and they planned to making sure that the reputation remained powerful and formidable, and that it was well known, and that its job was quietly fulfilled. Regardless of that, the entire urban village of the supernatural clan was completely destroyed, and the winds began disappearing from the destruction, as the job and the mission was successfully done as well. On the actual 27th of September, the winds actually began to reconvene again in the same base of operation, which was the same cave, which was the same cave, and this time not on the hands of the monster statue. This time they were all exactly standing in a circle. They were all standing in a circle, and there was two flickering magical crystals of dark and purple and white and blue, 3 or 4 magical crystals that were quietly lighting on, and a sinister light was quietly lighting on, as the shadowy holographic figures began appearing from each side of the crystals, as they all began exactly talking about their plans and their goal, and also about the next phase of their planning, meaning that destroying the sacred villages was a great plan, but it's time for them to actually further the next phase of the plan by conquering the other sinister schools of the sacred magic universe, so that they so that they can actually control some of them and use their powers and magic against the magical creatures, so that they can easily exactly place them under their sole control. The other members of the Winds were very skeptical about this attack, as the leader made sure to ensure them that the plans and preparations would gladly take place the way they're supposed to, but the attack is very imminent. It's very inevitable that it takes place, in order for them to gather more power, and in order for them to gather more power and greater strength than ever before, which will also speed up the process and finalize their plans and their goals in a real aftermath. The other members agreed, as the other members also become very quietly skeptical, but they decided to actually go forth with the plan as well. On the actual 18th of October, the four at least sinister dark magical winds began exactly attacking the magical school of elves and fairies, which they began exactly attacking it. The magical school of elves and fairies was quietly within the sacred magic universe, within the sacred magic universe was within the sacred magic universe where all elves and fairies live together in harmony in that school. And the magic school itself is quietly not that it's quietly big, it's quietly hidden with forests, with waterfalls and all of that. There are many magical trees and many magical trees and many magical trees and life forces within the entire colleges itself, and the four winds began attacking that school and literally conducting their powers and their abilities against the magical fairies and against the elves itself as well, which they practiced their powers and abilities, and they were able to remain victorious as the fairies and as the elves exactly were mercilessly defeated as well in the process. The other winds exactly appeared to land on the ground, telling the fairies and the owls that the entire college is now under their sole control. In order to prove that, he literally practiced a powerful dark art symbol. He literally opened up a powerful dark art symbol of dark magic, of a symbol that symbolizes the number four, that represents the four nation hunters, which represents the sacred world, which represents the hidden supernatural world known as the sacred world, in order to keep it hidden. And the number four that appeared on a symbol was a purple number four. And to do this, he practiced the dark art power and began plunging the symbol on the ground in order to demonstrate that the winds are in control of this college and that it's their job and mission to serve the winds. Otherwise, they'll be suffering further more consequences due to their stubbornness and due to their arrogancy. The fairies and the elves exactly have told the dark winds that the universal magic fairy, the universal magic heroes, and universal magic girl will come and save them. As always, despite that, the winds exactly did not take their warning or heed their warning very seriously, as they completely disappeared. And before they actually disappeared, they began reconstructing the college in a different way by raising powerful statues of formidable, or by raising powerful monstrous statues of monstrous creatures, statues of unknown monsters that never been actually been heard of or seen throughout sacred history, in order to put them within the college, which they actually did. After that, they disappeared and teleported away as well. On the actual 20th of November, the Universal Magic Heroes and Universal Magic Girl arrived in the nick of time to save this magic school of elves and fairies, which they did, and the winds were completely waiting for them as they fought the battle against Universal Magic Girl and against the Universal Magic Heroes, which they completely were all evenly matched, and Universal Magic Girl were able to defeat the winds in a nick of time against their dark magic powers and their ability. The winds exactly learned that Universal Magic Girl and the Universal Magic Heroes are very likely becoming very persistent and very, very, very too powerful for them to actually face. To do this, they exactly saved them the time and the scrutiny in order to avoid the scrutiny and in order to avoid to be captured and taken into custody. They actually arose the monstrous creatures and beings that are literally in complete frozen statues to awaken, to come back to life, in order to keep these heroes and these forces of good highly occupied, for them to disappear and for them to mysteriously teleport themselves away. The Universal Magic Heroes and the Universal Magical were forced to fight the monsters and to save the rest of the inhabitants of the college, which they did, and they all worked together to fight them, and they completely banished them and vanquished them, and the monsters disappeared, and nothing else of the residual life force was never seen again, as these fairies and elves exactly told the Universal Magical and the rest of the heroes that the dark winds are very powerful, sinister, shadowy magic users who are very ancient and very powerful and are very ambitious and are willing to do whatever it takes to further their own goal and their own plan, as they warned Universal Magical about the threat they significantly pose to the rest of the sacred magic universe's colleges and to the rest of the schools. And Universal Magical was able to see that with their own eyes as she believed them in their very word as well. On the on the actual 19th of December, the winds exactly able to reconvene on a different base of location, this time on a different cave, which was quietly protected by an invisible barrier of dark magic, where they all exactly revealed their shadowy holographic figures, and they all exactly spoke about the concerns about the universal heroes and the universal magic heroes and universal magical posing a threat to their goals and to their plans, as the leader of the winds exactly advised the members of the winds to not underestimate the threat that they are completely facing, especially the universal magic heroes and universal magical and the universal heroes with the abilities in thwarting the operation and the plans in the plans and the plans and the future plans in the long term, which could literally jeopardize the process that they've been easily able to speed it up, which means in other words they must further their goal in a very quick rather way before it takes drastic actions or rather less time than ever before as well. After they last meeting on December, from January, the winds never exactly met up as they all exactly were never seen. They were never exactly seen from January and never exactly seen from February as well. Since the past 2 months, they were never exactly seen or never exactly heard of again since they lost attack on November and since they lost meeting as well. They never exactly seen on January and February as well, as they decided to remain low and in order to keep their operation and themselves low and their reputation quite low, since they quietly wreaked enormous amounts of havoc and they decided to keep their distances as well. On on the 14th of March, on the actual 14th of March, the winds were able to exactly create a holographic shadowy figures of themselves in order to speak with the allies known as the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on a very powerful purplish room that was quietly concealed with crystal magic and dark magic in itself, where they were able to only four winds appeared in the dark shadowy holographic figures as they all began to speak with the Shadow Empire warlord, with the other Shadow Empire warlords, and exactly told them that the deal still remains intact and that the partnership still remains the same due to them giving them unlimited technology and greater power than ever before. The leader of the winds even reassured the Shadow Empire warlord that he'll even provide them with greater information and with greater intelligence on how to take down and wipe out the universal defending heroes, only if they can do one simple thing. One Shadow Empire warlord exactly asked the leader of the winds what is exactly that one last simple thing. They must exactly make sure that the Dark Emperor remains in power, and he must exactly come to the sacred universe to conquer known worlds and known planets and the sacred worlds itself, so he can become the next dominant ruler of the sacred universe as well, which is very crucial for their plan to actually take place. The Shadow Empire warlords and commanders were very skeptical as to what would the Dark Winds actually benefit from this planning by allowing a powerful dark sinister emperor who comes from an unknown universe to conquer the sacred universe for his own gain, for his own benefit. What they exactly able to benefit from this? The leader of the winds exactly told them that the universal defending heroes will stop the threat and they will act out, they will exactly take very much extreme precaution to stop the Dark Emperor from rising into power and also from ascending to power, which is very crucial that the Dark Emperor must be stripped of his power and must be stripped of his power and control over the known worlds and over the known universe he's managed to control. That must happen, and that it must be very crucial that it must also take place as well, with his demise ending at the hands of the universal defending heroes. The Shadow Empire warlords completely believe the winds, as suggested that they will do just that to make sure that the Dark Emperor remains completely stripped out of his powers. As the leader of the winds seemed very completely pleased, he was very quite completely very sure of that. On the on the actual 19th of April, the leader of the winds exactly summoned every member of the winds on a different base of location, which was also very much of a shadowy, powerful, which was also very much of a shadowy, powerful cave where they all exactly appeared in the holographic shadows and exactly told them that their plans and their goals are finally beginning to successfully bear fruit, meaning in other words, everything that they're about to do will successfully bear fruit, and that their plans and that their goals will gladly be able to bear fruit in a very much quietly sooner than ever, due to the long terming of their plan, due to the long process of their plan and of their goals, which will solidify the great goal that are about to also add into it. The other members were very quietly skeptical, as they all exactly believed the leader, as the leader exactly began to reassure them that everything else is about to proceed according to plan, the way it was meant to be, and that they must continue supplying the allies with destructive and more compatible knowledge, such as the ancient shadowy organization known as the Order of the Five, and the founders with great knowledge and with great hidden secrets, which is very crucial that the partnership remains the same and intact as it was ever before. They all agree to that as well. On the actual year, on the actual month, of May, on actual month of May, within the 29, the leader of the winds remained within the dark planet that is quietly filled with colonies, with conquered colonies, with conquered colonies of warlocks and witches and druids and supernatural and superhuman creatures and warlords and supernatural creatures who all live together and all coexist together, who are very evil and who are very powerful, where he was able to rule half of the conquered colonies and cities, and he remained at the tallest and most powerful, formidable tower within the city itself as well, where there are other worlds and planets that are quietly seen from the sky, and there are also other ancient statues of the Dark Sister, and also other ancient statues of the Dark Sisters and of the Dark Druid and of the ancient Dark Druids and of the ancient Dark Witches and of the ancient Dark Sacred Founders and the ancient Dark Previous and of the ancient Dark Previous Dark Winds, who also were known throughout sacred history as well. The leader of the winds exactly was told by another member of the winds to come inside the tower to speak to the mysterious ally. As the mysterious shadowy figure of the ally was able to sit within a tower and told the leader of the winds, is that everything else, is it all coming together, and is all the plan and everything else and all the preparations successfully beginning to take place on that very day. The leader of the winds exactly reassured his ally that everything else is already began taking place, and then all the plans and everything else with the due process has begun to take place. The mysterious shadowy figure told the leader of the winds to never underestimate the obstacle that they are completely facing, especially the universal heroes. They've proven to be too powerful and to be too dangerous, with their abilities in thwarting every single operation and plan that they managed to plan during for several years and for several months. They are too dangerous to be underestimated. The woman of the winds exactly told the shadowy figure that won't happen to them, and they'll never exactly let the past mistakes of the original Lord of Magic fall to them, and that he should exactly spare them the agony, because the leader of the winds is too powerful and too dangerous in order to be underestimated by a group of superhero children. As the shadowy figure advised them not to underestimate the new universal man. He's too dangerous and very powerful. With his team and with their abilities, they are not meant to be underestimated. The leader of the winds exactly reassured the mysterious shadowy ally that he won't let that happen again, that he won't let that result happen to him, and that he will never let himself be lowered down by powerful superhero children or a descendant of the origin clan. After that, the mysterious shadowy figure began exactly telling his two allies that the plans are about to bear fruit, and after that he disappeared from within the building, and his power and his energy and his presence whenever sensed by the leader of the winds. Due to this, the leader of the winds became very much completely irritated by what the mysterious shadowy figure explained about the universal hero's abilities in thwarting the previous associates' plans and their goals in the past, as he learned that won't happen to them or any one of them as well. On the actual 21 of June, the leader of the winds summoned the members of the winds in a different cave, this time in a different dark cave, where they were all exactly able to reconvene in the dark holographic figures of themselves, in the dark shadowy holographic figures of themselves, in order to conceal their identities, and exactly told them that the operatives are ready for plan B and are ready for phase 2, which means they must begin with the imminent plan of the plan in order to taking every other magical warlock, warlord, sinister creatures of fairies, witches, and sinister creatures of fairies and witches and Phoenician hunters and entrapping the ancient power and abilities inside the monster statue, which is very crucial in order for them to unlock the forbidden power that the monster statue possesses so that they can become more powerful and more dangerous, and making sure that the new Lord of Magic known as Lord Clay or Lord Jet remain completely powerful and very much completely powerful and in control over the cosmos, which is very crucial that the plan begins to take place as all the other members begin to agree with that as well. Despite this, guys, the Winds are a very sinister, shadowy group of dark magic users or followers who follow the most powerful ancient beings, that were quietly in secret communication with the fallen during the ancient times when he began his sacred supernatural global campaign in order to destroy and eliminate the supernaturals, aliens, superhumans, and the Phoenician hunters during the ancient times, and they still remain in communication with him. Regardless of that, they respected the original Lord of Magic and Amber, the goddess of power, the witch of power, due to their greatest ability of remaining patient and devoted to their goals and to their mission. They still believed in their goals, and they still believed in their true goals and in their purpose of their true goals, in their true sinister goals of exterminating the supernaturals, aliens, and the superhumans, and as well making sure that the original Lord of Magic's goals successfully bear fruit no matter what. They still continue to supply the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders with dangerous, powerful, formidable technology, and due to their secretive shadowy alliances with ancient shadowy groups of supervillains such as the Founders and the Order of the Five, they still provide them with endless unlimited technology, destructive and endless unlimited technology, and with greater expertise and forbidden dark knowledge and forbidden dark ancient knowledge of powers and greater wisdom, so that these two ancient secret societies, such as the Founders and the Order of the Five, would remain in control over humanity and the sacred world and the sacred universe as well. They are very merciless, cruel, sinister, shadowy ancient followers known as the Winds. Very, very sinister, shadowy, cruel, merciless, very ambitious and determined dark magical users known as the Winds. Very, very shadowy group of dark magical users known as the Winds, and very optimistic and very, very loyal to the most powerful dark ancient being and to the most powerful dark magical ancient being, or to the next dark shadowy ancient being. They also still are very loyal to the King of Darkness, who was also rumored to be a shadowy dark figure of an ancient legendary myth, according to the sacred magic universe, that he was the one who plunged the entire sacred enchanted forest into eternal darkness by creating dark monsters of shadows and of monsters of powerful dark energy in order for them to inhabit the sacred enchanted forest, and by creating nothing but a wall of pure unlimited shadow darkness itself, plunging the sacred enchanted forest into eternal darkness as well. The Winds were very loyal to the King of Darkness and to his bloodline and to his descendants as well, which they still do, and to the Order of the Five and to the Founders as well. They remain still very loyal to these two organizations and to the original Lord of Magic and to Amber, and it's due to their long gravity and due to their immortality that they're very powerful and very committed to their masters and to their associates, which exactly provides them the means and necessary to remain within the shadows of the sacred world and of the sacred universe. And they, in their ancient sacred history, is quietly sketched into the ancient paintings of the Dark Crystal Temple, which explains the partnership and the association with the Space Sisters and with the Dark Sisters, which the ancient paintings exactly explain that the Winds were very quietly still fully associated with the Dark Sisters and with the Space Sisters, which makes the association and the partnership remain intactable, and also still remain very much completely intactable, as they all began to call themselves as friends, or rather as partners, to further their common interest and their goal as well. They're extremely reluctant, very persistent, very completely immortal, and very completely powerful, granted with the power of summoning with the power of great shapeshifting, with the greatest gifted power of shapeshifting, the power of mind control, the power of telekinesis, the power of using magnetic repulsive forces at will, and the power of telekinesis, levitation, and the power of summoning dark magical orbs, and the power of teleportation, opening portals, and the power of controlling worlds and planets, and the power of conversion, and the power of infusing themselves with shadow energy, and the power of creating dark magical portals, and the power of also stealing magical powers and magical crystals from other worlds and sinister from other worlds and other planets in order to further the experiments, and their goals as well, and the power to combine science with dark magic at will as well. Very good in maintaining their usual bases of operation as well as a central headquarters, which they use are very powerful, which they very much quietly use ancient, sinister, dark caves where they're able to conceal the presence of themselves, where they can easily project shadowy holographic figures of themselves in order to conceal their identities from any operatives that might actually see them or quietly know them. They are millions, 10,000s of the winds who are unknown, who are rumored to be a powerful, sinister group of dark, shadowy magic users, very determined and very, very powerful. Their central headquarters is a dark, dark world of a planet that is ruled by many sinister, dark, and powerful monarchies, and the other monarchy is the leader of the dark winds, who rules the entire half of the colony cities, who rules half of the conquered colony cities, of the warlocks, of the witches, of the druids, of the warlords, and the supernatural superhumans, and rogue evil warlocks and warlords and criminals who all exactly live together in the ancient city colonies, with the tallest tower that is where the leader of the winds is able to rule it. And the leader of the winds possesses the most devastating, darkest, and most powerful power of all. Literally, completely powerful than all the other members of the winds, because he's very ancient and very, very powerful and very dangerous. His identity is never unknown to the other members of the winds. He's very good in creating a projection, a shadowy holographic figure of himself in order to conceal his identity from his operatives. The only member of the winds that completely know of his identity is the other wind that's completely close by with him in all the times, and he's very completely good in summoning a greater monster statue, which they use to practice their sinister dark rituals, to concealing dark magical powers and sinister abilities inside the monster statue's body and power, to making sure that the forbidden power that they're about to use upon the sacred universe is about to be used in a very, very dark and devastating way. They are very, very, very ambitious with their goals, and with their missions, and with their objectivity, and with their primary targets of their mission. They learned the hard way that the universal magic heroes and universal magical abilities, including the operations and everything else, can never be taken lightly again, which makes them extremely intelligent and extremely top level intellect, and very wise on their decisions, and very, very patient with their goals and with their plans, which also provides them the means to operate from the shadows of the sacred world. And according to the 4 Nation Hunters, the winds are a very, very sinister, shadowy group of dark magic users who are very powerful, formidable followers who follow the ones in power and the ones in control of that power. And it's their job and duty and purpose to make sure that the most powerful dark ancient being of power remains in power and in control. That includes the original Lord of Magic, Lord Clay, Lord Jet, and the Fallen, and the King of Darkness, and the Order of the Five, and the founders, the Unholy Alliance, and the Sacred Five, which they began to assist these sinister forces of evil and the ancient secret societies of super villains, making sure that these ancient shadowy criminal organizations remain in power and in control, as well as the most powerful dark magical and sinister beings who are also very quietly known, and some of them who are quietly unknown, remain in power and in control over the sacred world and over the rest of the known universe. No matter what, they are very dangerous and very shadowy group and very powerful, led by one of their own. Their origins are very quietly a complete mystery to the rest of the great good to the rest of the other great good magical fairies and the elves, which they only know a few little detail about the winds, which the origins are quietly painted throughout the ancient crystal dark temples, which explains them about the origin, which explains about the first powerful dark shadowy wind who was rumored to be a godlike monk, and the first in order to obtain great forbidden power and the ability of using the ability of using the sacred technique of all creation, manipulating shadow and light and power at will, which to the other Phoenician hunters, they have no idea what happened to the shadowy dark founding leader of the winds, and how he disappeared, or what happened to him during the primordial ancient times before sacred history was ever born or ever made, and they have no idea exactly what happened to him. But unknowns to them, the shadowy leader and founder of the winds is the one who's quietly ruling, is one who's quietly leading and taking control of the winds now, and he's still actively alive, and fulfilling the purpose of the wind's true goal and mission, which makes him extremely and exceptionally dangerous. The winds have gathered 10,000 of followers, and there are more of them scattered to the ends of the sacred dark magical worlds and known planets, and dark scattered cities, and dark scattered sacred cities of the sacred world, and even throughout the fringes of the warring states of the sacred world's nations and villages, which makes their existence very shadowy and their origins very, very completely mysterious. Due to this, they're able to easily provide their basis of operation, as well as maintain their basis of operation, as well as a central headquarters, by using crystal dark temples and warring sinister broken ancient caves and mysterious ancient caves and power caves, in order for them to remain in full secrecy, for them to convene and discuss their plans and their goals. They are very optimistic and very powerful, formidable, dark, sinister, shadowy magic users, and very determined to making sure that whoever remains in power stays in power, and they follow the most powerful dark sinister leaders of their own ancient organizations of supervillains, making sure that the leaders and the members remain in power and in control over the sacred universe, and over the sacred world, and over humanity as well. In the process, they do believe that the King of Darkness is still actively alive, and they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that his goals and his missions still are completed, no matter what, regardless of that. And due to their failings, in a last encounter against the universal magic heroes and to universal magical, they learn the hard way to never repeat their failings or any one of them. Thanks to their long gravity and to the immortality rate, they learn the hard way to never take any hero, to never take any member or any team in any teams of superheroes and their abilities very lightly, as they've learned the hard way, especially learning that the universal heroes' abilities in thwarting the operation of the other associates, and their partners, that can never happen again to them, and it will never exactly happen again to them, as they've learned never to take them lightly and never to underestimate them, as they've seen that in real action, and they've heard about it, and they've literally learned about it in the hard, very way. And due to this, they are very extremely dangerous, very sinister, shadowy group of dark, formidable magic users who are very calm, patient with their goals and with their objectivity and with their sole purpose to furthering their evil plans and their goals, which makes them a submissive group of powerful, sacred, ancient, magical criminals, and dangerous, and also unknown to sacred history. To some Phoenician hunters who were born during the ancient times are well known to them, but to the others born to the modern age of the sacred world are still unknown to them, are still very quietly unknown to them. But the others who are able to gather as much history, as much databases about the winds. And due to this, the winds form secretive alliances with shadowy, powerful, ancient criminal organizations such as the Order of the Five and the Founders, and with dangerous, sinister criminals such as the Shadow Empire warlords and the evil warlocks and random evil warlords and commanders and dark, sinister witches such as the Dark Witches and the Dark Druids and the Dark Druids and the Dark Witches and the Dark Faithful, which they all began to help each other and assist each other with their respective goals, and they were able to form a very powerful, sinister alliance with the shadowy figure who's also decided to remain in the shadows of the sacred world in order to provide them with great knowledge and great resources. Due to this, they have unlimited greater powerful resources which they easily provide to the allies, which they easily provide to the allies and to the associates, making sure that the partnership remains intact and it still remains intactable. Very ambitious and very shadowy, sinister group of super ancient, dark, magical criminals, and very powerful as well, and notoriously dangerous. Keeping their existence secretive and their origins very secretive makes them very ancient and very dangerous criminal, shadowy group of criminals, of dark magic use of criminals, very ominous and very lethal. As the Formation Hunters have learned to tell the Universal Heroes about these threats, that the Winds are very powerful, shadowy, mysterious group, and they are also known as the organization. They managed to come up with different mini aliases as the organization, or as the shadowy group, or as the powerful group of dark magic users or shadowy criminals who are searching for powers, objects, anything to further their goals and their objective. And their sole purpose and mission is to make sure that the most powerful dark ancient being and user remains in power and in control over the sacred universe and over the sacred world as well. Well, that's it for today, guys. I'll exactly see you tomorrow on Thursday. Have a blessed, wonderful day and an evening. I appreciate your support for viewing and subscribing to my channel. Please continue to do that. From those of you from shorts, I love you all completely. Keep viewing and keep watching. And from those of you from long videos, keep exactly watching. And from those of you from TikTok, please continue to watch. Please continue to watch and support me. I'll do the same for you as well. And I'm also rooting for you guys as well. Have a blessed, wonderful day and a great day indeed. Take care of yourself and may God bless you and may God protect you. And from those of you who are also subscribing to my channel, have a blessed, wonderful day. Love you all. Take care and have a wonderful day and a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye. 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 Bye.